To start off, I would like to acknowledge that Halifax, Nova Scotia is in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. Point Pleasant Park is the largest urban park in Atlantic Canada, about 75 hectares, composed of various species of trees from the Acadian forest and backs onto an inlet of the Atlantic Ocean. The park was originally a settlement ground for colonizers in 1749, when most of the original vegetation was cut down and removed for building. So in the late 1800s, when the area was designated a regional park, most of the ecology was imported. Since then, it has been transformed into an urban park for families and dogs alike to explore and bask in nature. Although the park has been through some ecological damages over the years, it still remains healthy and vibrant today. Incorporating Indigenous ways of learning and taking care of this park are essential to conserving it for future generations and to ensure the ecology remains diverse and stable. Point Pleasant Park provides for an ecosystem of various organisms that all interact with each other in their own way, both within the forest area and along the ocean coastline that the park backs onto. Wildlife that can be observed in the urban coastal park are red squirrels and various species of birds, such as crows, chickadees, blue jays, ravens, and the red-tailed hawk. Along the shoreline, seagulls, black cormorants, black ducks, and herring gulls can be found along with many mussel shells near the ocean. Due to the park's location being mostly surrounded by the ocean and by an urban area, the wildlife within the forest is limited compared to a more secluded and larger forest, but Point Pleasant Park is still very much full of life, especially with the added domestic dogs and their owners. In order to preserve this wildlife, it is important to take care of the land and not pollute it nor its waters, and all its creatures are equal and deserving of a healthy life, just as we are. To start to understand the inner workings of the park and how it can support all the species and interactions between environments as described previously, we need to start at the basis of all life, water, or Samquan in Mi'kmaq. The water cycle in simple terms is the process of water evaporating, condensing, and then falling back down again as rain. However, it is a bit more complicated than that. About 97.5% of all water on Earth is in the oceans, leaving a very small portion to account for all the lakes, rivers, streams, and groundwater on Earth, which is where humans and most land species get their water to survive. In an environment like Point Pleasant Park, the mammals and land birds would get their water from the ground and the atmosphere. When it rains, the water either evaporates back into the atmosphere, flows over the surface of the ground, or is absorbed into the soil and percolates down to the water table, where it is stored. This stored fresh water is what supplies a healthy soil environment for the plant community and therefore for the birds and mammals. The other major component that builds an ecological community is soil and nutrient cycling, which allow the plants and animals to thrive and survive. As mentioned previously, groundwater is a vital component in water uptake in the park, as it is for soil and nutrient acquisition. Movement of groundwater through the soil dissolves nutrients, which stay in the soil after the water later evaporates. These nutrients are used in various cycles, such as in the carbon cycle, which lead to primary productivity in plants, and the phosphorus cycle, which lead to sedimentation over time. Both of these cycles are important to the overall ecology of the park. Lastly, to touch on the oceans, when the water evaporates back from the ground or atmosphere, it ends up back in the ocean. When the water evaporates out of the ocean again, it leaves behind salts and other ions, so that only the water and nutrients are transported to the land through the water cycle, resulting in a salty ocean. Therefore, the majority of the nutrients in the soil and in these vital cycles are from the ocean. conclude, understanding the ecology and interconnectedness of the park is essential to our understanding of how we can conserve and protect this beautiful park as years go on. This cannot be done without two-eyed seeing, the integration and awareness of both the Western scientific information and Indigenous land-based knowledge that has been acquired over centuries. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have enjoyed learning about Point Pleasant Park in Halifax, Nova Scotia.